Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, hi, I'm G, aka Underwater Eyeballs, and I'm a cosplayer. And thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of the Out of the Water podcast, where I sit down with cosplayers, artists, creatives, anime enthusiasts, and overall some of my favorite creators and people to pick their brains about what they love to do. Joining me today for the second time after our first mishap is Reef, aka Reef the Rabbit, who's a musician, writer, producer, and artist, and a very dear friend of mine. They've been making music for many years and have recently put out a new record called A Plan to Stand. So, hi, Reef. Welcome back again. How
Hey,
are
girl.
you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm so good. Oh my gosh. For the audience, we're laughing really hard right now because we recorded this whole entire episode over a week ago and I had horrendous audio
About
issues.
a week ago.
Yeah, so there's a whole hour and 44 minutes of lost podcast episode that does exist. And then we were trying to film it again just now and it crapped out on us again. So third time's a charm. So let's fucking go. Yeah. Yeah. As I mentioned, the other two times we tried to record this, Reef and I have been friends for like 15 years. Which is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And I love
Wild.
telling them I love telling them that you were when you told me seventh grade, it still boggles my mind because it just doesn't feel
Hmm.
that way.
Yeah. It's wild. Yeah. I think I was maybe like 11 when we met, I want to say. Like 10 or
Mm,
11, which is wild.
it's fucking crazy.
It's wild. Alrighty. Well, once again, how did you first get into making music?
Well, I first got into making music from. Ooh, so sorry. I had a brain fart, and now my brain is not full of gas.
Listen,
Um,
it'd be like that.
yeah,
Better
I
out
need
than
to.
in.
I need to take some brain fiber. It's called
Hmm.
reading a
Yeah.
book. Um,
Yeah. Some Pepto Bismol, but for
some
your
Pepto
brain.
Bismol for the brain. I got into making music by like really wanting to explore like production and stuff. So I got my first
Mhm,
Mac,
mhm,
and as I was saying before, like I was pretty underwhelmed with like all the beats and stuff I was finding online because I was like, I didn't feel like any of it really fit me, but also just like a lot of them sound really similar. And
mhm.
then um, a big thing at the time, which is still like, is like iffy, but okay, I guess, was like loops. Like people
Mm,
wouldn't,
mhm.
had at that point, people had stopped making their own loops and they were just
Yeah.
getting it from like Splice or something, TM.
Mhm.
And they would like throw it in a DAW, they would throw it in the audio file and line it up with something else, and they would be like, I made this beat, and it would feel like, no, you didn't, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how I feel about like a lot of stuff right now. I was talking about instant gratification before with TikTok, with how you have the cooking
Mhm.
videos that are 50 seconds long, but it might have taken them like 4 to 6 hours to make that dish.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
me, a non cooker, is like, if you're seeing that, you might get fooled into thinking like, oh, I can do this and it'd be really easy. And it's not.
Mhm.
And, we're seeing that with AI and stuff. And so I was talking about how like the journey of learning is part of the craft, it's part of the art, is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
doing it and not expecting it to just come out perfect. Like you're gonna
Mhm.
make a bunch of bullshit,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
that's fine. Like that's how it's supposed to go. Making the bullshit first is how you get to the bag later. That's how you make better stuff.
Mhm.
You learn how to make better stuff. And so
Absolutely.
yeah, I had started like producing my own stuff with my friend Will. Um he was also like around the same time making beats on his computer and stuff, and none of it really honestly sounded that good. We were just playing around,
Mhm.
but it led us to like learn so many things and traits that I know how to do now. And I find that other artists don't always know how to like work with. They don't know how to like do some stuff sometimes, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it's
Absolutely.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely think there's so much value in like learning the rules too before you can break them.
Mm-hmm.
Like in any kind of form of art, you know, like at least for me, like I really like to know like the inner workings of the skill that I'm
Exactly.
learning, like
Mm-hmm.
before I'm like, okay, I could maybe like, you know, cut this process down a little bit or whatever. Like I just like to know how everything works.
No,
and
seriously, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why math sucked for me in school because I was always like asking teachers, like when I don't know, they probably hated me for this, but I always asked teachers, I was like, but why? You know, they'd be like,
No,
you need to do this quadratic formula or whatever. And I'd be like, but why? You
poor
know? And
K.
not in, yeah, and like not in the sense of like, well, why are you making me do this? But in the sense of like, yeah, but why is this equation the way that it is? You know, and they'd be like, gee, I'm a high school teacher. I don't know the mathematical like theory behind why this equation is the way it is. And I'm like, well, then I don't understand it. You know,
Yeah, it's like I don't want to know.
then I don't even want. Then why are you teaching me if you don't even know? You know,
You know, it's pretty funny.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like when you're doing all this stuff, you're learning all
mm-hmm.
these do's and don'ts. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and you like figuring out why. How do I say this? You're figuring out why stuff works and how it doesn't work and how it does work. It just
Mm-hmm.
leads you to interesting avenues, man. Like
Yeah,
I get a
yeah,
big comparison. I think it's so funny that I had never I don't listen to this man's music a bunch, honestly. I love it though. It's like I get a lot of
mm-hmm.
comparisons to like Tyler. It's like people are like,
Oh
"Oh, this
yeah,
sounds a bit like Tyler Creator," and I'm like, "That's so funny because I was
yeah,
never that super into him." And I like Flower
mm-hmm.
Boy. That's a good album, and Igor too. But like,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't count Tyler as one of my main influences. But I think the reason we get a bunch of comparisons is because he probably took those same avenues, you know, to just like find what works, find what sticks, find what doesn't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that created his own style. And so someone was like, yeah, it's like Frank Ocean mixed with Tyler or something. And it's like, this is how
Mm-hmm.
you get these really interesting artists. You just like do random crazy stuff. And like I said, right now, I feel like
Absolutely.
a lot of artists are stunted or being kind of like thrown into this one box by the
Mhm.
industry and sometimes by themselves. And you
Yeah.
can tell which artists are like clawing out of that box and they're doing really good about it. You can tell which artists are not. Like, I love Claro. Like, you
Mhm.
could have never told me that Claro would evolve into like the artist she has now. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure. I think she was working with like YouTube beats,
Yeah.
like when she started, and she made them
Real.
sound great. But
Mhm.
now it's like she's doing all this like really crazy production, and it's beautiful all
Mhm.
around.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
sorry, I'm getting text here. Give me 1 second.
You're so good. Yeah, I just oh man, I remember when Claro first like came onto the scene. And I don't listen to Claro, but I started like oh my god, recently somebody showed me like some of Claro's new stuff and I was like,
Hmm.
this is the same artist?
No,
I was like
seriously.
I was like, "What?" Cuz like back when she was doing kind of just like bedroom pop, like that's what I knew her as, which is why I kind of cuz I'm not super into bedroom pop and so like
Yeah,
I never really listened to her
exactly,
cuz I was like it's whatever, you know. But then I heard her recently and I was like Claro, okay, girl. You know,
exactly.
I was like, okay, so we've moved on a little bit, you know.
Yeah, no, and I really
um,
liked the bedroom pop, and honestly, there were a couple of albums where I was like,
mhm.
I don't know how this is going to turn out for her. Goes, I don't know. This is, but then like
Yeah,
the most recent one, I
yeah,
was like, this was gorgeous. Like, and
for
it's part of
sure, yeah,
that exploration that matters so much. It's like again, like with
mhm.
Tyler, he came from making stuff like Goblin,
Yeah,
and then he
yeah,
made Igor, and it's like
mhm,
Kendrick made C4, which is
mhm,
there's some songs on C4 where it just sounds like Lil Wayne rapping and Tupac
mhm.
rapping. Like it's totally. And
Yeah,
then you have like To
yeah,
Pimp a Butterfly and Untitled Unmastered and GNX and all that. And
mhm,
like I tell people, same thing with SZA too. It's like I love SZA's music in 20. I found it in 2013, I think. And
Mm-hmm.
I love the Z EP that she put out, but she's also got stuff on SoundCloud that just sounds like a totally different artist. But
Mm-hmm.
it's gorgeous stuff. But she took those avenues to just keep exploring like new ways, and maybe not all these people do their own production, but they all have a major hand in like the creative
Mm-hmm.
process. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so, even if you're
absolutely.
not into learning how to do the production yourself, the music theory, you should all learn music theory. Everyone should learn music theory. I don't want to hear a fucking excuse about any artist, musical artist, that tells me I want to be a musical artist for the rest of my life and I don't want to learn music theory. Fuck off.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking learn it.
Yeah.
It's not fucking hard. Okay. So,
You're like, that being said.
that being said, like if you're into like doing it, like learn it. Like don't claim to
Mm-hmm.
love something and be passionate about something and want to do it for the rest of your life if you're not gonna like commit to it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
we're seeing that with so much stuff. Again, we're seeing it with AI, we're seeing it with
Mm-hmm.
instant gratification, we're seeing it in people's relationships. You know, people are like, oh, I love
Yes.
you, but I'd rather, be friends, but also, whenever, but also situationships are cool. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
know.
man, I gotta say, I'm so happy that I'm like locked in because if I had to date right now, I would just be
Mm-mm.
single forever
No,
because
that's it.
and
Yeah,
like not
that's how
to
everybody feels.
not to like shit on dating culture because I'm not a part of it, but I'm still gonna do it anyway. What is the whole, and this is a tangent. We'll circle back, but like the talking thing versus like dating. I'm like, if you're going on dates, you're dating, bitch. You
Yeah, bro.
know? I'm like, if you
Yeah,
went on a
no.
date, you're dating. And if you are not seeing other people and you are dating, then you are in a relationship. I don't care what you slice it.
Dude,
Like,
I have so many feelings about
oh yeah, it's
I have
crazy.
I have so many feelings about like the talking stage that doesn't actually exist. I think that's
Yeah.
like it's so weird to think about, but I the talking stage never existed. That was something that came out of digital media.
No.
That's
Yes.
something that came. It's
No.
like, oh, we have to text first, and then we have to like maybe call, and then like, no, back in the day, like 20 years ago, and of course I was a child, but
20 years ago when I was in utero.
I was 7.
No, I'm 25. I was not in
I
utero
know.
20 years ago, but I just still.
My brain was in utero. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like you would, see the movies and maybe they like talk on the phone once or twice and then they'd like go
Yeah.
on a date and that was normal. And like as a very in
Yeah.
person, yeah, I think it's like totally fine to like, I don't know if you vibe with someone and go vibe with them. There's no point in this like weird, like, why are there stages?
Yeah.
Like, why have we
I
organized it
don't
into like, you got to do
know.
this, 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 this? It's like maybe just follow the vibes and see how they
I
go.
don't know. Like, I just think people have like major commitment issues. Like, if I'm being so for real, like,
Very true.
I feel like with any relationship, friendship, or otherwise, like you're saying, like just vibe it out. It doesn't have to like, and just be open and communicate with each other. And if you don't want to see other people, then say that. And if the other person is like, well, I do want to see other people, then make a decision about it.
No,
Like
literally.
see where you want to go from there. Like it doesn't have to be this weird fucking like we're in this weird social hierarchical relationship structure that somebody else imposed upon me. I don't
No,
get it. I don't like it.
literally. No, literally. Like,
Yeah.
it's interesting because like it's your friendships too. Like, I
Mhm.
have a friend of mine who was like really sad because someone had told her that their friendship had developed too quickly and that they didn't want to like. And it was like a weird. I thought it was just strange.
That's
Basically, it was.
bizarre.
It was weird, and like I'm sure she might not be friends with that person now. I don't know what the deal is, but
Mhm.
all I can speak to that when I get test to that is like I just hung out with someone last night and I don't get to see much. This is our third or fourth time hanging out and I think we're
Mhm.
very close. And it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's like I don't know, that's just gonna happen more and more. The older you get, the
Mhm.
tighter your circle gets because you know how you vibe and how others vibe as well.
For
And
sure. For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, instant
Yeah.
gratification really wrecks a lot of stuff.
It really does. And I feel like people, even like you were saying, like in relationships or friendships, like I feel like people want to jump to like the part where you like have the deep endless trust for the other person, but they're
Mm-hmm.
not willing to like actually put in the work. Kind of like you're saying with music, they're not willing to put in the work to actually build that relationship at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, you know. And it's like, as much as like, no, you know, you can like just like let the vibes go where they go, it's also like, okay, but also like, you know, I'm not going to trust you with like my bank information right off the
No, right,
bat.
of
You
course
know what
not.
I
Right,
mean?
right, right, right.
Like, there's still like good boundaries that have to be set and everything. But I
Absolutely.
don't know. Yeah, it's just people are short attention spans, instant gratification. It's all crazy these days. Yeah.
This looks funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted.
You're so
I
good. Oh my
was
goodness.
like
Well,
cleaning my face.
you
I was like,
mentioned obviously like Tyler and Kendrick and all those
mm-hmm.
artists. So do you have a favorite artist that's kind of influenced your style,
Favorite artist that's influenced my style? Because,
or just
okay,
in
yeah.
general?
Because, like, favorite artist is hard for me to say because there's so many artists
Mhm.
I really, really enjoy and I really love.
That's like asking to pick a favorite child. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm sure some people can do.
Yeah.
But isn't
Yeah.
that kind of fucked
Yeah.
up? Like, some parents will tell you that shit straight up and be like, that one, not you. Like, but,
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh.
um, yeah, but, I was the favorite, by the
Oh yeah,
way.
real. I don't think I was. Mom, if you find this, I'm sorry. My parents used to always say that the favorite was whoever they didn't have to worry about the most at that time.
That's hilarious, bro.
Yeah, they'd be like, if I'm not worried about you, you're my favorite right now.
That's crazy.
Like, okay,
Me,
work. Like me
fire.
always worrying you.
Yeah. Me always there. You. I was gonna say, artist that's influenced my style, probably David Bowie
Ooh,
has
real.
like been the
Yeah.
biggest like overhaul
Hmm.
because I think we were talking about it last time where it was like I had all these modern artists that I felt like really like fit into the scope of what I was looking for, what I was doing, and
Hmm.
like big influences of mine are like Kendrick and Travis Scott and
Hmm.
SZA and Beyonce, Frank
Hmm.
Ocean. Also, notable names here like Kanye and Drake,
Mm.
and it's inescapable. They dominated the 2000s and
They did.
2010s.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Um, but those are my biggest influences. All of them just kind of wrapped up into one. But Bowie was like this missing piece, this like secret ingredient I didn't know I needed.
Hmm.
And it was like as soon as like I won't say as soon as because I didn't really enjoy his music until I got to college. But it was like
Real.
one day I turned on. I think I started with Space Oddity. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go through his whole discography, and I
Hmm.
started with his second album, Space Oddity, and something just clicked. I don't know what it was, but it was like this is the strangeness and adventure I've been missing. There's something about
Yeah.
his music that's so adventurous, but also just wild, and
Hmm.
it's like very organic and very like I want to say chaotic almost, but very
Hmm.
controlled and directed. And it was like I needed that. So it was like this extra like drop of inspiration through all these modern artists. And Bowie is still a modern artist to me because a lot of the things he was doing, he was decades ahead of. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like he had
Yeah,
some
he
weird
was for
ideas.
sure.
Like he had some
Hmm.
strange ideas for the times, and the Beatles too. Like I used to hate the Beatles, and I went back and I listened, and I was like, "This is weird shit to be doing in the '60s." Honestly, like this is crazy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band is a wild album.
That's a fucking weird album.
It's weird as
Like,
shit. It's weird now, and it's like,
even
oh, it's not that.
today.
Even today, it's like
Yeah.
it's. I could hear somebody doing this, but thinking in
Hmm.
context, like this is 1967. No
Yeah,
one's
that's
heard
crazy.
any of these sounds before. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
It's
anything they were
wild.
doing was fucking weird.
Also,
So,
that fucking Yellow Submarine movie.
oh my god, that shit is a fucking nightmare.
That
That
shit
shit is
is,
a fucking fever
it's
dream. I don't even.
terrifying. It's
I don't even.
terrifying.
I haven't been able to ever get through it. I just see like the giant hands, and I
Yeah,
stop. They have like weirdly giant hands
They
in the
do.
whole
They
movie, and I'm like,
do.
why is
They
everybody's
do.
hands so big?
Weird shit. Yeah. Yeah, I don't
Mm,
know. My hottest probably my hottest take, I don't know, you can yell at me for this. I know it's a bad take, but I don't like the Beatles.
gasp. No, I mean that's
I know.
understandable though, because
I don't know.
I didn't like the
Yeah.
Beatles that much for a long time, or I didn't get the hype. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
if anything,
I think maybe I need to give them another shot as an adult. I think it was like when I was younger, I a lot of people in my family really liked the Beatles. And so
hmm
it was something that like I was like exposed to. Um
hmm
and obviously, okay, I'm gonna say with the exception of Eleanor Rigby, because that song is
that
gas.
song's great.
That
That
song is
album
gas.
is great. You should start
Yeah,
with that album.
I should, yeah, because I think
Yeah,
I just was listening like, I think the Beatles that I was exposed to was, like, the hits, which I was like,
yeah.
"These are fine," but,
And the
like,
hits
I
are
don't
fine.
really understand why people are, like, losing their fucking mind over them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's
but
d-
yeah, their more interesting stuff is good, though.
no, it really is. Like diving into the, I did like 2 years of Bowie, just straight listening to Bowie, but I did about a year, pretty much just listening
Mhm.
to the Beatles.
Yeah.
And this is
You
the
should
work
send me
I'm
a
talking
list.
about. This is the work I'm talking about, by the way, for all the artists listening. Like, bro,
Mhm.
study your
Yeah,
craft. Like, find shit you don't like, figure out why you don't like it, and you might end up liking
real.
it. Because that's
Yeah,
what happened with me. Like, I was not into the Beatles like that.
that's
But,
facts,
like,
yeah, yeah.
going to their earliest stuff, it's like they blew up with this cheesy ass shit. Like, I mean, cheesy. If you think the Beatles are cheesy in their later years, no, 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 no. The
Oh,
earliest
yeah.
Beatles, they're like,
Mhm.
I drove my car to the shop and then I got some milk and it was really good. Ba 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 bum, ba 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 ba, some bullshit like that. But
Jacob
like
Collier.
people,
Bum, 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 bum. Sorry.
yeah, no, seriously. But people like that shit like back in the
They do.
'60s. But when they
Yeah.
start doing the weird shit, I
Mhm.
like again wasn't a big fan. But then I would listen to their writing. It's their lyrics that are like beyond me. I'm
Yeah.
like, they are such good writers.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know who's a Shrek fan out there, but I have to admit it's getting better. It's getting
Mhm.
better all the time. It can't get no worse. It's like
Yeah.
that's the Beatles. That's not like I think Smash Mouth did that cover, but that's
Oh,
like
yeah,
Paul
yeah, yeah.
McCartney and
Yeah.
John Lennon. And like there was something
Oh, I didn't
about
know that.
hearing yeah, there was something about hearing like Paul McCartney say like it's getting better, and then John Lennon came right after, like it can't get no worse. I was like, why does that
Can't get
bang?
any
Like,
worse. Yeah.
like
Well,
I
I
was
mean, it's an interesting juxtaposition, right? Because
exactly,
it's almost like a difference in POV at that point, you know?
exactly.
That's like an optimist and a pessimist singing on a song together, you know?
Exactly. And no, that's
Yeah.
exactly literally what they are. Is like that's why their writing style works so well. Like pretty
Mhm.
much all of Paul McCartney's music is really like
Yeah.
positive and trippy, and you have John Lennon
Mhm.
over here is like sad as hell, still trippy, but
Yeah. Yeah.
like it's
Yeah.
stuff to think about like that where it's like there's so much personality in this music that I previously just didn't really find any personality in at all, but when I actually started
Yeah.
listening I was like that's why people love this stuff is
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
um like
They also, I think, like popularize, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they like popularized the 4 chord progression as
yes,
well.
yeah, like
Which is
pop was
kind of
very
their
different before them.
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
like
Yeah,
the
I mean, you
Beatles,
can't deny their influence, like at the
not at
very
all.
least, like they definitely changed the game, like hands
Everything.
down.
The Beatles
Yeah.
are the reason like music sounds the way it does now, like all of music, which I think is fucking wild. It's
Yeah.
like before them, like we had R&B, we had like rhythm and blues, straight up rhythm and blues. I'm talking like Elvis
Yeah.
doing like Hound Dog, stealing that from black artists, but I won't put that on Elvis. I'll put that on his label.
The cultural appropriator.
Yeah, but I don't put it on Elvis because he was
Yeah,
unaware
definitely his
most of that
label.
was happening. Most of
Yeah,
the time,
yeah.
when you think an artist is evil, it's usually their label that's evil, and the artist is
Oh,
just kind of a guy.
100%. Yeah, yeah. They're just doing what they need to do to get paid, like,
Yeah, they're
9
like,
times
I'm an
out of 10,
employee,
like
bro. They can't do anything. But
yeah, yeah, 100%.
no, when I was thinking about this, and I have thought about that like chord progression thing, you have like the rhythm and blues where they're all playing like one chord progression over and over in different keys for
Mm-hmm.
like 20, no, for 40 years up to that point. And the Beatles
Mm-hmm.
came out and had done this wild stuff that wasn't jazz, but it wasn't blues, and people didn't know how
Yeah.
to react to it. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like rock and roll meant this one thing, but now it's been expanded because of
Yeah.
these four guys from England who like to do a
From
lot of
Liverpool.
drugs.
They're from Liverpool,
From
right? I'm
Liverpool.
not I'm not
I think
making that up.
I think they're from Liverpool. I
Okay.
think. I don't know.
I'm like 86% sure.
Well, everyone who likes the Beatles is like 86. So
That's true. That's true. That's true.
and me and my mind.
Real.
But yeah, man, like no, like they really them and again Bowie really also redefined a lot of
Yeah.
stuff cuz the Beatles brought in this almost like they brought in the personality and the different chord progressions and like the showcasing of artistry, but Bowie brought in this dramaticism that no one really
Yes.
had before. And
Yes. Yeah.
he like really
Mm-hmm.
pushed it to go so much further. And
Yeah.
after that, Michael Jackson like took that to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Like music videos were not music videos before Michael Jackson. Most people don't know that. The music
Real.
videos
No,
before
that's
Michael
true.
Jackson were literally just the band
Yeah.
playing in front of like a trippy green screen or some shit.
Yeah.
And when Michael
Yeah.
Jackson came out with Thriller, it was like this whole revolution of music videos and like
Oh my
theatrics and
God.
music.
I gotta
You know what I
tell
mean?
you, I remember the first time I watched that music video.
Yeah, it was a little creepy.
Like clearly. It scared the shit out of me.
Bro, it's so scary. Like
And
it's
it's because
not
I was like, I think I was 7, like
yeah.
7 or 8. And I remember, like, I think my mom or my dad, it must have been my dad. My mom would not have shown me the Thriller music video. I think it was my dad.
Know exactly which parent
Like,
it is.
yeah, like I think he was like showed it to me and it was that damn wolf. It was the werewolf.
I was about to say it was the part of him transforming, right? And
Yes,
then the
it
end
scared me
where he
so
turns
bad.
around. What scared
Yes.
me the most, it wasn't the
I was
zombies,
so
it wasn't even the
scared.
wolf. It was like when he turned around and the eyes glow. I was like, oh, she's gonna
Hated it. Hated it. Yeah. Oh my god. I was scared absolutely fucking shitless as a child. I had
die.
nightmares about it for like a week.
Michael Jackson's got weird ass concepts. If you go to Cidercade, if you're in the
Yeah.
Houston or Austin area, you go to
Mhm.
Cidercade. Some Cidercades have a Michael Jackson game. It's such
Yeah.
a weird fucking
Yeah.
game. It's like you can pick up his pet chimp, like his pet monkey,
Oh
and
god.
then you turn into a robot and you shoot
Oh my
lasers at
god.
people. It's like
Wild.
it's wild in there. I'm like
That's crazy.
he had a firsthand like design concept for that game. He
Yeah.
apparently was like, this is what's gonna happen in my game. Everybody's gonna
Yeah.
look like this. Like but
Oh my god. Yeah.
yeah, no,
Oh
like
my god.
a lot of art is attributed to that, so like go do your research. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
my least favorite thing is hearing an artist that stays the same for years, man.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
listened to the Playboy Cardi tape, and it's a lot better than a lot of his past stuff.
Mhm.
Has been in the last few, I want to say like five-ish years.
Mhm.
Because he finally changed his direction a little bit. And while I still think he could go further and sound a bit more wild and get a little more uncomfortable with his style, he's definitely changed his style and, in my opinion, improved. And
Mhm.
like, I haven't heard him do that since like Die Lit. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because Whole Lot of
Absolutely.
Red was a whole lot of ass. Sorry, Cardi, but I had to say it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Miss Gaga.
Miss
But she kind
Gaga.
of Miss Gaga. She kind of did the same thing. Like if you go, I recently with because she just put out a new album.
Hmm.
Shout out Mayhem. And she like me and a friend of mine went back through her entire discography just because we both love her and wanted to talk about it. But I in my head I was like, damn, like she did really kind of change her sound every album, like
Yeah.
genuinely. Like and granted, like, I know a lot of people like love the dark pop and everything, like from
Hmm.
like the Fame Monster and all that, and I adore it, but like art pop to this day will forever be like my
Art Pop is
baby.
a
I
great
love
album.
that album. I
That album
fucking
was
love
great. I
that
remember
album.
that album.
that album was so far ahead of its time. Like it's actually crazy. Like
No,
like
like
I went back and listened to it and I was like, oh, like that genuinely probably is my favorite, one of my favorite albums like ever. I love it. I love it so much. But yeah, and then she did Joanne, which was her country album.
Joanne,
Which
Joanne, Joanne,
yeah.
Joanne. I know it's not the song.
Yeah. Yeah,
I just think that'd be
Joanne.
funny.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Joanne.
I do love artists who change and who try different things. And even if they don't succeed at them, you know, I
Yeah,
can
man.
appreciate that they're
Yeah,
trying. Um
yeah. Like one of my favorite artists is Future, but I'm always
mhm.
disappointed in Future's albums because he sounds the same as he's sounded for almost 15 years now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Drake got away with it for a bit, but the last great album made by Drake was I want to say If You're Reading This Is Too Late was the last time I felt like Drake took a major risk
Like a
changing
risk,
his
yeah.
sound. I guess like
Yeah.
Scorpion too. Scorpion to me didn't turn out so great, but people really enjoy that album, and I
Mhm.
understand why. But I would
Yeah.
say like that album is still like him just kind of trying something, but he himself
Mhm.
doesn't change. Like his producer changes. 40, great job, 40. I'm so proud of you. Kiss on your forehead. Kiss on your big bald
You're like,
forehead.
mwah.
But, mwah. But yeah, Drake
Oh my
himself as like a
goodness.
rapper and artist hasn't changed his style that much for the most part.
Yeah. Well, I
But
gotta ask you, thoughts on the beef?
it's still so funny. It's so fucking funny. Okay. Um give me 1 second. Hold on. I got notes for this.
This episode of the Out of the Water podcast is sponsored by Fresca. Not actually, but while we're on this commercial break, I just wanted to talk about how much I love Fresca. Sparkling soda water, grapefruit citrus, original. I buy about 6 cases of this on a monthly basis, probably. My entire household drinks this. Right now, you can find it, I believe, at Kroger, Walmart, sometimes HEB, and probably your local grocery store. Um, it has 0 calories, less than 1% juice, um, 80 milligrams of potassium, allegedly. Um, no fat, no protein, one single carb, and 35 milligrams of sodium. So if you're trying to hit your salt intake, drink Fresca, sparkling soda water, grapefruit citrus, original. Well, so I wanted to ask you too. You mentioned like, you know, obviously the Beatles and Michael Jackson and a bunch
Hmm.
of different artists who are all fantastic performers. And so I
Hmm.
wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on like performing in general? Do you have like a favorite performance you've ever done?
Um I I am also a gigging musician, so
Hmm.
I don't
You do a lot
know.
of them,
Like
yeah.
I do a lot of them and I can't really remember.
Hmm.
But one of my favorite like personal performances has been like the first time whenever I do like open mics or like just solo performances. Open mics are a great way to get experience like with stage. If you struggle with stage fright, do an open mic.
Hmm.
Um it was one of the first time I did Billie Eilish. What was I made for?
Oh, beautiful song.
Yeah, I love that song. And
Yeah.
like I don't know. I didn't think I could hit those notes, but it
Hmm.
again, open mic's a really good place to practice and like get good at being confident and stuff, but also just seeing what your ability is on stage.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, one of my favorite performances is just when I've performed that song with the first or second time, and it was really heartwarming to have a friend in the crowd that like wanted to go home and was about to, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to stay for my performance?" And she was like, "Sure." And she was
Mhm.
like, I came off stage and she was like crying. She was like, "I didn't know you could do
Oh,
that," and
that's
it
so
made me really happy.
precious. Oh
That
my
was the
god.
beautiful moment for me. I was like, "Wow."
You're like, "Oh my
So
god."
yeah, no, that was
Absolutely.
really reassuring. So yeah, that would be one
Yeah,
of my favorite.
for
Um,
sure.
before
Yeah.
our commercial break, you asked me about
Mhm.
certain feud between
Oh,
two
yes. Yes, I
underground
completely forgot.
rappers.
I got lost in underground. Y'all might not have heard of them,
You
but there are
might
these
not have heard
2
of
rappers
it.
called, Drake and Kendrick Lamar.
Dude, I don't
Um,
know. I don't know. Who's that first guy again?
Drake. I've heard that he's a certified lover boy, certified pedophile. Um
Okay, side note. This has nothing to do with the beef. I love
Yeah.
that Dave Blunt song. Have you heard of Dave Blunt? I love that
Wait,
fucking
can we
song.
can we talk about Dave Bloods for just, like, 1 second? Can we talk
Oh,
about
that
him for
man
1
is
second?
amazing.
Because listen, I became aware of him a week ago, I wanna
About a week
say.
ago, a week ago.
About a week
A week
ago.
ago, a week
And
ago.
Alex showed me, I Can't Put Down the Cup. I don't know the actual title of the
Can't put
song.
down the cup. Can't
I can't put down the cup. Okay, the thing with that song is it sounds like like conceptually it could have been a good song except he didn't finish the fucking words, you know?
Yeah, I
Cuz
think that was
it was like a I don't remember the lyrics, but it was like something 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 with Lee and I fell in love. I can't put down the cup. I can't put down the cup. And I'm like if you had just like finished writing the song and not just repeated I can't put down the cup like 80 billion times, it could have been good.
dude, I'm not gonna lie, he's got some other songs though that are like
Yeah.
Crying in the Kitchen is just it's just
Also, not to if
hilarious.
if he ever hears this, I don't think he will, but if he ever hears this, Dave Bloods, you need to come out of the closet, dog.
Uh,
It's okay. It's okay. The closet is glass.
oh, I have to look up the fucking lyrics because he was like, "There's hold on,
He
wait, I
just
gotta
keeps
find it."
talking about how he's totally not gay and how
He
all of
was
his
like,
friends are
"I
gay, but
talked to
he's totally
Jesse
not
Jones and
gay.
he told me I talked to Jesse Jones. He told me I should go to Mary's on Second." He
Yeah.
he said, "Hold on, I love all my niggas, but I don't swing that way." He said, "I'm just playing because that's a club for the gays." Ah! Oh my god, bro! Listen to this
Like
man.
like come out. It's okay. It's
Don't let Hef
2025.
Tobin be your babysitter because I heard that nigga was. I heard that nigga was a pet. It's one of the funniest fucking songs I've ever heard in my life. Bro, I shit you
Oh
not. I
my god.
died of laughter listening to this
Oh
song.
my
That
god.
man is an absolute fucking genius, bro. He
He's
is one
so
of the best writers that has entered rap, and I don't know how long, because that
he,
shit should not be so fucking goddamn good, but holy
but
fuck, it's
it's
so
gas.
amazing.
Yeah, it's
It's
oh my god. I just
actually
think
incredible.
he really should do some self searching though and
Oh
just
my
come out of the
god,
closet. Like
dude.
it's okay. Like
I'm not
with
even gonna
the
say the
nothing and
last line
them.
he said. I'm not gonna say the last line he said about the Glock
Oh
with
yeah.
Caitlyn,
Yeah, I know
but
what you're talking about.
I'm not gonna lie, that was crazy.
Crazy work. Yeah, crazy work.
Crazy work from that
Crazy work.
man. Dave
Yeah.
Blunt, I hope you're doing good. I hope you're eating some salad. Um Side note also, I don't know if this was even real. I saw like a thing about Kanye contacting Dave Blunt. It was really fucked up. But
Oh.
basically,
Was it about the Diddy thing?
I think so, but also he was like no, that's the other dude. He's like, oh wait, no, I gave you my personal trainer, and then Ye was just like, how much weight have you lost since I gave you my personal trainer? I'm like, bro, you don't ask someone
Yes,
that.
yes, it was that, it was
Like,
that. I heard about that, and then I
what
think he,
the
like I think the rest of that story, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be like, I just was told this is, like, fourth hand
this fucking
information,
man.
but I heard that, like, there was, like, some connection with Dave Blunt and, like, I think it's Diddy or something with something, and then Kanye was like, "Oh, I didn't realize you were like that. Give me my personal trainer's number back."
He's fucking stupid as fuck.
Yeah, it might have
Oh
been
my
I don't know
god.
if that's real or not. I
I
could
don't
be
know if that's
spreading
real.
misinformation right
Honestly,
now.
you could, again, we were talking about AI. You can make a AI
You
generated
can make it up these
Kanye
days,
page,
yeah.
and everyone would believe it's real. Like that's
Yeah,
the sad
that's
thing about
true.
Kanye right
That's
now.
true. Well, because he's, off the
He
rocker
just
right now.
wants as much attention as he can possibly get, and he doesn't actually believe anything anymore because none of it
Yeah.
affects him. Keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Kanye
that's
is at the
true.
echelon now where none of the media, none of what you can do or whatever is going on in the world, no matter how you see it, it doesn't matter to him because being a good person doesn't affect his life anymore. So he doesn't
Oh, he
have to
has
be a
so
good
much
person.
money. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's so I mean, that's the thing with, like, big artists or, like, celebrities that I don't think people understand because they wanna
yeah.
hold them to such high standards, and I'm like, "Okay, first of all, that's the standard you should be holding your
Your own
politician to,
exactly.
not artists, and second of all, those people are beyond people at that point. They are
Yes.
brands. They're not individual
Yes.
human beings anymore, you know?
Exactly,
They have
dude.
so
No,
much fucking money and so much influence, they do not give a fuck. I would not be surprised this is a hot take, I would not be surprised if half of them secretly voted for Trump because he's
I
gonna
not
make
at
them more
all.
money, you know?
Honestly, I gotta say this. Back in the day, I remember Trump did say this. He was like, a lot of these celebrities, they talk one way, but then they vote a different way. He was like,
Oh,
you'd be
yeah.
very surprised. And Trump
Yeah.
is very good at mixing the lies with the truth. This is what a salesman does when they're trying to steal from you. Trump
Yeah.
will mix
Yeah.
the lies with the truth. But
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
can always, with him, I feel like he's gotten so bad at lying that he's the truth. Literally, you can always tell. When he said that, I don't know why, but I was like, that's absolutely right.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
guarantee
Yeah.
you, like
Yeah.
90% of those Hollywood celebrities that were talking all this hot mess turned
Mhm.
around and voted for his ass
Oh,
because
yeah.
they were like, well,
Well,
I
I mean,
probably won't
even,
have to pay
like
super big taxes if I'm with Trump.
exactly. Even I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna piss off the Swifties.
I'm
I
going to
would not
say
be
it.
surprised if Taylor Swift voted for Trump
I
because
don't care that
she
Taylor Swift broke her elbow.
Oh my god. No, but really though, like I feel like she was so conservative for so long.
Yes. Now, I will
You
say
know?
also because of that, I wouldn't be surprised if she voted for him the first time, but I will say there were
I wouldn't
also
be
a lot of
either.
people the second time that people were like, no, this can't happen again. There were a lot
Yeah,
of
no, I
people,
do think that. I do think
yeah, there are a
that.
lot
Yeah.
of conservatives that flipped, like, no,
Yeah.
this can't
Yeah.
happen. And I
Yeah.
think like surprising, like Carrie Underwood is still like 100% Trump, and I would not be surprised if Taylor Swift voted for Trump, but I also understand if she was like, absolutely not. Like, I can't do that
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I
I
mean?
don't know. I'm so suspicious of her all the time.
Honestly,
I'm
when that
like,
account with her fucking flights to the coffee shop came out, I think everybody
that's what
got a
I'm
little more
saying.
suspicious.
That's what I'm
That's ridiculous.
saying. Yeah, I don't know. But also just the like the fact that she like only really started, speaking out for the LGBT community or women or anything when
When
it
it's
became
popular.
like socially acceptable to do
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
I'm like, mm, you know,
And that goes back to
okay.
what we said before. Like, these people are employees at the end of the day. Like, they're
Oh
brands of
yeah.
themselves, but they're literally not. People don't
Yeah.
understand this. Celebrities are not their own boss. I talk
No,
about,
most of them are not. Most of them are not.
yeah.
Yeah.
As someone who was at Astroworld, I talk about this all the time. Like, I still don't 100% blame Travis. Do I think he could have been more mindful and involved in the planning process? Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I also understand that Live Nation, if you
Oh, they're yeah.
tell an individual, hey, this company is going to handle it, don't worry about anything. Of course, that individual will not worry about anything because there's a whole fucking company that's supposed to be
You'd
managing
think.
this shit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You'd think
And
they're doing
so
their jobs. That's their whole job.
exactly.
You know,
So
like they're a fucking live show coordinator. That's their
yeah,
job, and you'd think they would have done it, but they didn't.
exactly. And so maybe the shittiest thing he did in that was post a really weird video where it's like, I'm not sure if you care at all.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, damn,
He was like,
that's crazy.
"Oh, I'm so
That
sorry."
shit was so bad. I was like, this nigga does not know how to empathize right now. He said,
Wait, do
oh,
you
fuck. He said, God damn, really? Oh, that sucks, man.
do you know how Attack on Titan ends? Tangentially
Vaguely.
related. Okay, somebody
Vaguely.
made a parody video. I think it was a friend of mine actually. Somebody made a
Oh, did
video
they put
where they
Aaron's face?
parodied. Well, they were parodying Aaron like doing that, but like apologizing for the rumbling.
Oh.
I
Oh,
died.
sorry, guys.
I died. It was really
Damn,
funny.
that's crazy.
Ooh,
I'll never
yeah.
forget.
My
I'll never
bad.
forget. Speaking of spoilers, I'll never forget my friend in college fucking everybody.
Mhm.
We were in the fucking lounge in our like building for the music building or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like 30 people
Yeah.
in there. And this is
Mhm.
around the time Avengers Endgame came out. And
Mhm.
he was scrolling on his phone. I just hear, and this is like my best friend in college. I just hear him, ah. I'm like, what happened? He's like, somebody spoiled it for me, so I got to ruin it for all of y'all. Iron Man dies!
No,
And everybody just started throwing shit. Everybody was like, oh,
brother.
fuck you, nigga, no.
Oh my
That
god. Well,
shit.
that's like, do you remember you might remember this when the 6th Harry Potter movie came out and somebody drove by in their car to the line of people who were waiting to see the movie and he was just like, Snape kills Dumbledore, and then like drove off and everybody was like,
Oh, what an
what?
ass. What an
I know.
asshole.
Awful, awful. I fucking
No,
hate people who intentionally spoil things without consent. I hate that shit. Drives me crazy.
no, seriously.
Something else that's great about Fresca is you can mix it with white wine to create a white wine spritzer, um, or something like that. Basically, you get a mason jar because we only drink out of mason jars here. You get a mason jar, you fill it up like halfway with wine, and then you fill it with ice and top it off with Fresca. And that shit is delicious, and I recommend it. Um, what else can I say about Fresca? The can is a standard can, feels good in your hand. Um, it's I believe aluminum, probably. It's good. It's got good crushing ability when you're finished. You can crush it real good and then put it in your recycling bin, hopefully, because we recycle in this household. Um, it's got a nice blue design with some detailing. It's giving like 1920s kind of vibe, but like in this nice baby blue, which I like. The font is nice and crisp. There's a little picture of a grapefruit, if you can see that. Something else about Bresca. There are multiple flavors, which I just learned um, not too long ago. Apparently, there's like other ones. I'm not going to list them because I don't want to get sued. Because I might get them wrong. I probably would get them wrong. And we're back. Incredible, incredible work.
I love
Alrighty.
the smell of fear.
All right. Thoughts on the beef?
Okay, so if you didn't know, beef, while it does carry a lot of creatine, is actually
Oh
terrible
yeah,
for your gut. Here are
many
the 9 top
carcinogens.
reasons why you should give up red meat.
Real.
1, Drake is kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
But
2, Maybe a
So I
pedophile.
love talking about this beef because it's been going on so much longer than people know. And if you watch
Yes.
like the videos, they give you all the history. But for me, the
Yeah.
beef starts at
Mhm.
on Take Care. I think
Mhm.
I can't remember the track number, but it's
Mhm.
called Bury Alive Interlude.
Mhm.
And what Drake used to do, and I think he still does sometimes, is
Mhm.
he used to put a brand new artist on the block on one of his albums and like feature that artist.
Yeah.
So on Take Care, the featured artist that has one song all to himself is Kendrick. It's track number 7, Buried Alive Interlude. On
Mhm.
Buried Alive Interlude, it's just Kendrick talking about the first time he met Drake and how he
Oh.
hated this nigga. It's so funny how he hated that man. And it's like you
Mhm.
kind of like get the impression that there's some sense of respect just because it's like a fellow rapper who's made it and who is
Yeah.
like the echelon of what rap has been, right? Like this is the biggest rap star in history, you
Mhm.
know, and this is like a dude who just started out in a not just started out, but like in comparison is new
Mhm.
to like Drake. And he's just
Yeah.
talking about like how Drake is basically this big phony. Like
Yeah.
he's like he thought when he first met him he was gonna lie to him. And he was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, he talks about how like Drake told him for getting sorry for getting explicit, but Drake told him like fi- he said bury yourself in money, power, sex, like all that, like because
Mhm.
outside you belong to the people, like you don't
Yeah.
belong to yourself. You know, I mean, like we were just saying this with this artist being these
Mhm.
bigger than larger than life things. They're not individual people anymore. Kanye West is not a person, that's a brand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like it's same with Kendrick and Drake. They're when you cancel an artist, that's not the only person affected by that. You know what I mean? It's like
Oh
people
yeah.
lose their
Yeah.
jobs,
Yeah.
you know, and that's the sad part is like
Mhm.
hell, like there are songwriters that are in those writing rooms or in those studio sessions. They lose money when you don't like
Mhm.
go stream their songs. There's nothing wrong with streaming a song by an artist whose music you might enjoy who might not be the best person.
Yeah.
Unless the song is dedicated to hating, you know,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Maybe hating
Yeah.
an individual, it's a little funny, but it's
I'm the biggest hater.
it really is.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But
I love the people who were like, Kendrick showed me that I wasn't hating to my full potential. I'm
yes,
like,
you were
yes,
not.
you're not. You can
Say
if you
Drake.
think you're hating enough, you can always hate more.
Say say Drake
Say
on the
Drake.
Super Bowl was insane, bro.
I hear you like
I
him
saw
young.
that
So fucking
live and in
crazy.
person, but
Oh my god, yeah. The whole crowd shouting A minor was
that was whew. And you know
wild.
what got me too was it
Mhm.
wasn't just that crowd. It was
It's
every crowd
everyone.
watching
Mhm.
everywhere. Because
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they said it was the highest streamed halftime show around the world. So that means
It's
there are
crazy.
people in other
Crazy.
countries who don't even really know what the Super Bowl is
Yeah.
shouting A minor when they know it's time to say A minor. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Genuinely insane. Like
dang.
if I was Drake, I would go on hiatus, you know?
No, and I'm surprised. You know,
Like,
kudos to Drake for
ooh.
not completely giving in, but also go on hiatus. And I think I said this. We talked about this a bit before. I was like, dude, that dude
Mhm.
needs to like go to the forest, get some ayahuasca or some DMT,
Yeah.
and
No more
like just
BBLs.
no more BBLs.
Take a
Stop,
break.
you whippersnapper! Stop doing the BBLs.
Stop
But
putting the silicone in your butthole.
hey, no more silicone in your butt, okay?
I'm dead.
Take my word, I used to put silicone in my butt all the time. That's gonna
And
be
let me
like
tell
people
you.
from this generation when we're like 80, they're gonna be like, don't put any more silicone in your butt because you might get
Yeah. God forbid we have plastic in our bodies, though, you know?
yeah,
Shout out the
man.
microplastics.
Especially like those tiny, tiny ones. Like that
Yeah, the
would be terrible that appeared in
microplastics.
your water. and also
Oh,
everything you ever want
and
in your
like
body
in your
ever.
bloodstream and all that shit.
It's
Yeah,
fucking
it's
wild, dude. I
crazy.
don't even want to
It's
think about that.
wild.
How did that even happen? How did we let that happen? Anyway,
I don't know. I don't know.
you know, I have a theory that plants and fungus will adapt to the plastic,
Hmm.
and in the future, you know how in SpongeBob everything's chrome.
Yeah.
Like in the future, like plants are gonna like feel and look a little more plastic,
Oh,
but they're gonna be like
interesting.
able to deal with it.
Yeah. And they're
But
gonna be
I
like
don't know.
8 feet tall because of genetic engineering.
Yeah, yeah,
They're gonna be
yeah.
like massive. Yeah.
And then
It's gonna be
we'll
crazy.
all hopefully escape America by then, and then maybe
Hopefully.
this country will just eat itself alive, and we can all watch from the
Yeah.
outside.
Real.
But but going on with the beef, man, like he wrecked that man. Like he killed him
He did.
over
He
and over.
did.
He killed him, buried the body, dug the body
Yeah.
up, beat him up some more, pissed on his grave, buried the body again, set it on fire, and walked away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Truly
I didn't.
insane.
I think what really got me was like, first of all, Drake spurring it on. Like, I can take Kendrick, no big deal. But
Yeah.
also because you know he seems like the type of person to surround himself with yes men, like people who just tell him like good things and only
Yes.
good things, which is a very
Hmm.
toxic thing. You know,
Yeah.
have friends who
Yeah.
will call you for your bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
That's so important. That's
dude,
genuinely so important. You got to have people around you who will tell you no. Like, that's
like,
so important
dude, no, that's
all the
been like
time.
the best thing. Like that's helped my development as a person in improving like who I am so
Yeah.
much. Like
100%.
friends calling me out for shit, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, no, seriously, like with him, like I guess what got me was like again him spurring on the beef, and then when it officially, I feel like Euphoria is like Kendrick clapping back full on, and
Hmm.
it's like, hey, don't respond to this. You don't want this
Yeah.
work, and then him responding like a dumbass, and Kendrick just dropping track after track after track of just
Yep.
obliterating this man,
Yep.
and like
Yeah.
a big one that gets forgotten was Meet the Grams, and that's when he, you know, really
That
dishes out
one
all the.
to me was the
That is so
craziest one.
mean. That
That
one
one
was
to me was the
so
craziest one.
mean.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
not like us is dancy and it's funny and he shits on you,
Yeah.
but like no, the meanest one was Meet the Grams.
I
Was
mean,
just
just even the like, dear Adonis, I'm sorry that your dad's a piece of shit. Basically,
no, literally.
I was like, oh my God.
Like told him like your dad's a piece of shit and he's not a good father, and if you need a real father, come knock on my door. And
Wild,
then talking to
wild
his
shit.
mom and being like, I'm sorry that your son turned out shitty. Talking to his dad and be like, you're a piece of shit too. That's why your
Hmm.
son's shitty.
Yeah, crazy
like
work,
shitting on the
truly.
entire family. And
Hmm.
then continuing that. I think he dropped 2 more tracks after that
Yeah,
or some
yeah.
shit. And then he
I
dropped
think
Not
he
Like
did. Yeah,
Us.
yeah.
And then he dropped Not Like Us. And so it was just like, it went from, I watched this beef spiral from like something I expected to happen for years because they've been like under the table dissing at each other for like 10 years.
Oh, for a
Ever since
long
Very
time.
Live Interlude. Yeah, for a very long
Yeah,
time.
for a long time. Yeah,
But like,
yeah.
I know like that was like the one that everybody was like, damn, Kendrick went off and he might be talking about J. Cole and Drake. But that was like a
Hmm.
very professional rap diss. That was a
Oh
very
yeah,
like
that wasn't anything
classy.
personal. Yeah,
It
yeah,
wasn't. It could
yeah.
have
It's
been
not
very not
personal
personal. J. Cole almost got involved and then decided to duck out because he was like, yeah, I don't know what's about to happen.
because he's smart.
He's smart. He came for Kendrick initially, and I guess
Hmm.
somebody called him and then
Hmm.
told him what was about to happen. And he was like, I just thought it was funny. I remember the video of him being live, like,
Hmm.
everyone was like, why did you back out? He was like, no, no, no. I backed. He was straight up like, y'all don't know what's about to happen. Like,
He was like,
I'm
just
sorry,
let
Kendrick.
it cook. Let
He
him
was like,
cook. Like.
let it happen because I need to step out right now. And
Hmm.
that shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah. And
very
that's when
funny.
I think it got more personal. But yeah, I thought the beef was incredible in the way that we get to see Kendrick is, you know, a bit older than me. Um,
Hmm.
but I think like 10 years, something.
Hmm.
And while I don't believe art should be dedicated to like hating on someone, in the at the end of the day, art is dedicated to creation and expression. That is
Yeah.
what art is made for. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And it's like if we're talking about some guy you don't like, and you have to express why you don't like that guy that large.
Yeah. Yeah.
That like you have to do that.
The best thing about Fresca, in my opinion, is the extreme amount of carbonation that one can experience while drinking it. Um, the carbonation within Fresca is absolutely unparalleled and unrivaled. Um, there is nothing better than drinking a cold Fresca straight out of the fridge on a hot summer's day. It will give you carbonation to the extent that you will immediately burp, and it will be the most intense burps you've ever experienced, but in the best way, in a sinus clearing, healing, nourishing way. um, yeah. Oh, see, look, it even tells you please recycle. See, it's socially conscious or something. But yeah, so this episode, once again, sponsored, not sponsored. It's not sponsored by Fresca, but I wish it would be so that I could get free Fresca. Um, enjoy the rest of this episode. And we're back.
Yeah,
But
no.
yeah, yeah,
That was my thing with the beef. It was just like,
mm-hmm. For sure, for
I
sure.
want to say Drake had a decent rebuttal, but he never did.
No, he didn't.
And I think after that, people really realized, like I've been saying about Drake before, like his music hasn't changed much. That he
Yeah,
has been really lazy, in my
yeah,
opinion, in the last like 10ish years.
yeah.
And I think people just finally got tired of it. It's like I remember somebody even saying like they weren't excited for a Drake drop in like 2018.
Oh wow,
And they
yeah.
said that because they were like, it's just going to be the same thing he always drops. And More Life came
Mm-hmm.
out, and it was the same
Yeah,
shit he
yep,
always drops.
yeah, yeah.
So,
And I mean, granted, it's like it kind of prints money, so like
yeah, exactly. That's
but at the
the
same
whole point
time,
of
it's
it.
like, you know, when you get accused of not having a lot of artistic integrity, you got to kind of take that,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when you
So,
don't, if the shoe fits, like,
Drake, if you ever see this with your very, very petty, beautiful BBL ass,
yeah,
um, you
like and
know,
subscribe.
like and subscribe, but go to the jungle, go to
Yeah.
the rainforest, and
Hmm.
do that ayahuasca, man, and see where
Take a
that
break.
takes you.
Take a
Maybe he
break.
needs that. Go learn music theory, you jerk, because I know you don't know it that well.
T. T.
I can
Real.
tell, because if you knew it well, you'd probably have different melodies. But I'm not going to
Yeah.
speak on what knowledge I think I
You're like,
know, what I don't. Whatever.
well, okay, so of course we have to talk about anime.
Grr.
And I know you love One Piece, and so do I.
Yes.
I'm on Skypea now. So I wanted to ask you, what does One Piece mean to you in a small scale and also on a grander scale?
And so Small Scale is like one of the most enjoyable shows I've ever
Hmm.
like feasted my eyes upon, because I've been watching it since elementary, I guess, like when it came out.
Yeah,
And like there
yeah,
was a time where I wasn't watching it anymore because Toonami went off, but I thought
yes, yeah.
I I was young, so I thought it was like a Toonami show, and I was like, oh,
Hmm.
all my favorite shows are gone, and it was like 3 or 4 years. I don't know how long
Hmm.
it was, but I do remember like I forgot what that dude's name was. I wish I had memories, like clear memories of childhood. There was this guy I was friends with that he came to see me, and all I remember was me being really excited, like the feeling of being really excited, because he told me, he was like, like One Piece is still going, and I just have that line in his, like, that's, I don't remember his face, I don't
Yeah.
remember his name. I just
You're like, I
remember him
remember
saying,
nothing.
I just remember him saying, One Piece is still going, and being really excited. And
Yeah.
so on a small scale, like, it's such a like important show to me, just for like the enjoyment of it and the characters and the story and the powers and all that is beautiful. But on a long term scale, that show is fucking revolutionary. The writing, the story
Yeah.
writing
Mm-hmm.
is just incredible. Over such a long period of time, you can recall the smallest events. He'll mention something and then he'll
Mm-hmm.
mention it again a little more in detail, and he keeps doing that for like a few years, and then he'll build it up into its own like arc. It's
Yeah.
like, he was talking about Doflamingo like decade and a half ago, and then we got Dressrosa, and
Mm-hmm.
that was 10 years ago. I didn't know Dressrosa aired 10 years ago. I didn't know that.
Damn.
It's been like
Yeah.
almost 10 years. I mean,
Yeah. That's crazy.
and he
Genuinely,
mentioned
it's
you,
yeah.
yeah, you meet Doflamingo like really early on in the show, and you
I'm
think,
trying
oh,
to
it's
think if
just
I've
like
met him yet. I think I
y-
have.
big.
Maybe.
If you're at Skype, I think so. Big. If when you see the dude with the flamenco mink on, like the big coat, that's Doflamingo. You'll see
I'm gonna
him.
Google a picture of him,
Very
and I'll
tall,
tell you.
slender, very evil man. There's a lot of One Piece villains that are evil. There's some who are just kind of goofy and they're just bad people. But Doflamingo, they make very clear, has like no soul.
Okay,
They make it very clear he is just very angry and
I think
spiteful and
I
prideful.
I think I haven't met him yet, but I know of the character because of my homies who cosplay,
Yeah.
and I think one of my friends cosplayed him at some point.
You will think he's one of the best villains, but you will hate him. He is an
Yeah,
ass. There's a lot
yeah,
of asses in One Piece, but even the villains that are stronger than him, I still don't think are nearly as bad as he is. Like, he is an
yeah,
asshole.
yeah.
Like,
Like
he's a
he's
terrible
not only an
fucking.
ass, he's also the whole.
He is also the whole. I saw this. I heard the comedy skit about like the dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, they're dicks. I'm sorry for my language, but he was like, they're
You're good.
dicks.
You're good.
They're dicks. They're pussies, and then they're assholes. He's like, see, the best thing to be a dick. He's like, if you're
Mm-hmm.
a dick, you're fucking everybody, and everybody might have a problem with you, but it feels good sometimes. He's like, if you're a pussy, you're just scared of shit. But he's like, but assholes. He's like, assholes just shit on everybody, and they're the
Mm-hmm.
worst. And I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that's a great way to like, terrible way to look at the world, but great way to like contextualize that. On a
Yeah.
larger scale, I think the show is so important because at its core,
Mm-hmm.
literally within the first episode, the show is about fighting fascism. It's about fighting
Yes.
oppression.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like what the show's about, and people don't get that because it's decorated and colored and has all these, again, wonderful stories and characters. But the reality within the first episode, he shows you what the show's about,
Oh yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
just about fighting your oppressor, and it's
Yeah.
excellent.
Absolutely. And it's about like deconstructing like inner biases too, I feel
Yeah.
like, because especially like one of the I'm obviously on Skype now, so I'm not nearly caught up, but I'm still enjoying it so much. And in Chopper's episodes, in his like the little arc where we meet Chopper for the first time, and he's like crying because Luffy's like, oh my god, like you're a monster or whatever. And Chopper at first like gets like a little like triggered because that's
He's
kind
just
of his
like, they're
backstory, is
gonna
he's
hate
really
me.
upset. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
then Luffy goes like, that's
That's
so
fucking
cool,
awesome.
you know, like
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, you are a monster, but that's fucking awesome, you know. And I love that because it's saying like, it's such a like like silly way of saying like, you know, because I feel like a lot of people be like, oh, well, I love you even though you're this, or I love you even though you're
Yes.
that. But it's
But it's
like,
like,
Luffy was like, no, I love you because you're that, you
yeah.
know, and that's so profoundly different. You know, those two things are so different, I feel like.
Yeah. No, it's kind
Yeah.
of like hell, like I think one of my favorite things in One Piece is when like a villain comes back, and they're pirates, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
sometimes a villain comes back and they're like an ally,
Mm-hmm.
and Luffy's like, yeah, I already kicked your ass, so you're good. Like, you know,
He's
it's
like, did
like,
that, been there, done that. Yeah.
he's like, whatever, man. He's like, if I have to kick your ass again, I will, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's something like beautiful about the redemption stuff, but it's also like something beautiful just about like how how flat characters shape the world. Like, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't say Luffy's a completely flat character. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I think one of the uninteresting things is like when you have someone like Goku. I love Dragon Ball Z for its
Mm-hmm.
characters, its innovative ideas, like as far as like power, like how they do the power scaling and the art itself
Mm-hmm.
and the world. Story's
Yeah.
terrible. Story's horrible.
You're like,
But
it's ass, actually.
it's actually ass, and will not argue the fact the story's awful. And I have so many
Mm-hmm.
people that will get upset about that. No, the story's ass cheeks, straight cheeks, stinky
Yeah.
cheeks. But
Real.
but like the cool thing about Goku is that he's a flat character in the sense he doesn't change. He
Mm-hmm.
changes the world around him.
Yeah.
And Luffy
Yeah.
is kind of like a lot of anime like people, like anime protagonists are flat characters. But what I like
Mm-hmm.
about Luffy is that he does have to lose first and then he
Yes.
bounces back.
Yeah.
And when
Yeah.
he's like there was I won't spoil it too much, but there was a point in the show where he's just so broken and someone has to
Mm-hmm.
remind him like what he still has left and he
Yeah.
remembers his friends, you know. And I think like
Mm-hmm.
there's so many anime characters where that's the other way around, where the protagonist is like, get up off your feet. And it's like, this is
You
the
still are
moment.
loved or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was like the
Yeah.
moment where it's like Luffy is having that struggle. And it's like, I
Oh,
don't know. It's like really refreshing, you know.
my
You see them
Pookie.
tears
I
building
love
in.
him.
I love him
Yeah.
so much.
I love him. Oh my god, I adore that show. Like genuinely to anybody listening, if you're thinking to yourself, "Oh my god, One Piece is too long. I can't do that shit."
It's worth it. It's
Get
so
over
worth
that.
it. No, literally. I tell
And
everyone the exact same thing.
I say that as somebody who was like that, like not
Yeah.
even
For years, I would
4
tell you to
months
watch and you're
ago.
like, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah, you've been telling me to watch it for years. Like so many people have been telling me to watch it for years, and I'm here to formally apologize for my previous mindset about One Piece.
Woo.
I got over it, and you can too, dear listener. You too can open your eyes to the ways of One Piece. But genuinely, it's so good. It feels like watching a D&D campaign,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
just
That's the
a group of
best. Wow.
friends like doing shit,
Yeah.
and it's like watching a D&D campaign,
Wow.
like
Yeah,
genuinely.
that's a great way to put it. And that's
Yeah.
feeds into why it's so long, because it's not like,
Yeah.
okay, like I get into like many funny little arguments with my friend about he likes
Mhm.
Naruto. And he's like,
Yeah.
One Piece is trash. Then he's like, that nigga's still looking for the One Piece. He's garbage. And I'm like, no, that's the best part. It's a
That's
pirate
the point.
adventure. They're
Yeah,
on a
that's the
fucking
point.
adventure. Like
Exactly.
they're not like, hey, we have
Yeah.
a mission and we have a goal. Let's do it, do it, do it. Like the grind
Mhm.
culture, you know, the hustle culture. It's
Yeah.
like we were saying before earlier in the podcast, we were like the journey is in the learning. The art and the craft is in the learning.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
in the
in the
adaptation.
building of the trust,
Right.
like
In the
it's
building of the trust. Let it take you
yeah.
somewhere you're unfamiliar with or uncomfortable with, because that's what it's about.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
so
exactly. And you just get to see them learn and grow, and like, and I love it because it's like, again, it's just like a group of friends hanging out, and like once you
yeah,
fall in love with the characters, it's like, why wouldn't I want to be on this journey with them hanging
dude,
out? You know what I
dude,
mean?
I literally
Like
tell
it's such a
people
comfort. Like
where one of my students asked me, they were like,
mhm.
what world would you live in if you didn't live in this one? I was like, the One Piece world. I say it
Yeah.
every time. I'm like,
Yeah.
with all the fucked up dark shit that you haven't gotten to in the
Yeah.
One Piece world, there's a lot of fucked
Uh.
up dark shit. But it's like there's a lot of
Good. I'm
like,
excited.
yeah, no, it gets like, oh man, like
It gets serious.
it gets human
Yeah.
rights activists, but
Ooh,
for all
okay.
my very afraid conservatives, not woke. But
Ugh.
I'm just, by the way, that's not a real fucking term. You guys
No,
realize no
it's
one
so
fucking
dumb.
says that.
Nobody
Like, you know,
says that in
black
real
people were
life.
saying that to warn other black people. That had nothing to do with
Yeah,
anything about being progressive. You weirdos took it and you made it weird. So stop
real.
saying it, because you're the only ones that have made it weird. And it's like you're getting off at how weird you make it. You know,
Yeah,
it's strange. Anyway,
real as fuck.
yeah.
Spit.
Anyway, yeah, great show, like at its core all around. My favorite anime of all time. One of my favorite shows of all time, if not my favorite show. You know what I mean? I don't know another show
Yeah,
I've been watching this long with this much intent.
yeah.
Like, I have to
It's
see how
just
this
so
turns out.
good.
Yeah.
It's so good. And I thought about it the other day because obviously, like, I'm just started, like, in the grand scheme of things, like watching One Piece, and it's gonna take me a long time to finish it. But to me now, like, where that used to feel daunting, it now is like, oh my god, yay, I get to watch One Piece for the next like 3 years, you know?
No, literally.
Like that's great, you know?
That's how everyone I know,
It's such a
everyone
treat.
I know that started the fucking journey has said that. Everyone
Yeah.
I know has been like, that's gonna take me a long time, but they get past like, granted, you got to get past like the first like 10
You
episodes.
gotta get to me, it was you gotta get to Arlong Park. And then
Yeah,
once you're at
yeah,
Arlong Park, you
that's where
lock
the show
in.
gets great. For me,
Yes.
I want to say
Yeah.
like, if you like the smaller fights and stuff, the show like gets good when he gets Zoro. You know, it's
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that's when it gets
Yeah.
like really cool. You know,
My
and again, something I love about the show is like when they start off as small time
mhm.
pirates, they make like the world small.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
it's not like in Naruto when and I'm making comparisons because a lot of people really like Naruto. And
Mhm.
that was my first anime that I watched aside from like Pokemon, I guess,
Yeah.
technically.
That's
But
also a really long one, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Pokemon?
No, Naruto.
I was like, yeah, bro, I think.
No, Naruto.
Yeah, Naruto's like 700 episodes. But like
Yeah.
in the first episode, I guess something I didn't really catch on to with how that affected it was like in the first episode, they show you the Nine-Tailed Fox. You know, they're like,
Mm.
this is the
Mhm.
big demon that was fucking dangerous, and
Yeah.
here's what you got to face. And they kind of do that in One Piece, but you don't know the scope to what
Yeah.
that is. Like they say, here's Gold Roger, King of the Pirates, and you think, okay, cool, King of the Pirates, and you see Luffy, and it starts
Yeah.
off, and you're like,
Mhm.
oh, this is a pirate show. And as it goes on, you see how far the gap is between like Luffy and what his
And his
goal is.
goal.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
so far,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's
Well,
like
that's why I
it's
say
so
it's like a D&D campaign, right? Because
yeah,
like, when you start a D&D campaign, for those who haven't played, you start with, like, 2% of the knowledge, you
yeah,
know? Like, even if there's, like, a goal, like, we're like, for me and my group, we're playing Curse of Strahd, and we're almost done, but we've been playing for 3 years in real time.
fucking
And
crazy.
we're almost done, we should wrap this fall, which I'm not emotionally prepared for. But, like, when we started, we were like, "Okay, great, we're gonna kill Strahd," right? That was
Mm.
our goal. But we knew like this much of like what was going on. And like and it's like you're saying in One Piece, it's like I'm sure that they know like nothing right now,
No,
compared
literally.
to what they're gonna find out. Yeah.
No, and that's the crazy thing. Every time you think you know, it's such deep lore. Like it's like a way more developed. If anyone likes Adventure Time, it's like a way more developed Adventure Time. It's
Real
like you
tea.
start Adventure Time thinking this is a cute little show about a boy that likes to have adventures and fight
Mm-hmm.
monsters and slay demons.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
deeper you get into it, it's like, oh, ooh, it has all this lore. Like the land of Ooh has all this crazy stuff that happened to it that made it the way it is. And it's the same with
Yeah.
One Piece. Like it's crazy right now. Like I've been reading on the recent chapters. I'm like, this is fucking insane.
Ooh.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
again crazy because he's already alluded to this very early on in the show, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And it's like,
Yeah.
dang, like it's all coming full
So
circle now.
is he still putting out manga as
He's
well?
still putting out manga.
Wow.
Like, no, he's not done with the manga.
That's
No,
awesome.
I think he was talking. He's like, I might have if it wasn't 500 episodes, it was another 500 chapters he might have. But
Wow.
dude,
You know
it's
what though? Again, kudos to
crazy right
him,
now, though.
because it also is not. It doesn't feel to me like a story that was unplanned either. So
That's
like,
what's,
kudos to
yes,
him.
that's
Like
what gets
fucking
me.
kudos to him. Yeah, it doesn't feel
Yes.
unplanned at all.
No, and that's why I
Um,
say it's like some of the stuff he's revealing now, I'm like, he's been building this up for so long in the background that no one noticed.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like none of this is unplanned. This is all very thought out, methodical storytelling. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? It's like
Yeah,
fucking insane.
yeah. Brilliant,
Um,
brilliant author for sure. If he doesn't DM, he should.
dude, he basically
Because
did.
yeah, he basically did. If we're being so for real, yeah, he basically did. Yeah, it's incredible. I love
So
it.
yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I want you to step into my confessional booth for a second. And I know
It's
we were
me, your
talking
confessional.
we were talking religion a little bit before we
Oh,
got on mic,
oh
but
yeah.
but
I forgot
give
about
me
that.
a give me a hot take. Oh my
Hot take.
goodness.
Jesus is the biggest tech bro. Just kidding.
My hot take is that Jesus is a trans
Jesus,
man, but
Jesus is a Sigma. Jesus probably makes like a net worth of 400,000 a year, and then invests that into
in Bitcoin.
Mm, he shouldn't invest in Tesla right now. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
He's just putting
Yeah.
his heart out there, guy. I'm sorry. I
I
just recently got
unironically
into.
I
I
unironically think Jesus is a gay trans man, but
I was
that's
just
just me.
sorry about the hard out there. I was just talking to someone, and they didn't see the video yet. They were like, "I think it was a genuine mistake." I was like, "Watch that video," and he was like, "Oh, well."
You're like
He was like, "Well, that could." He was like, "Oh, he did
ooh.
it twice." I was like, "Yes, he did it twice. Yes."
Mm.
So
The video. Okay.
yeah,
I know
the
which one you're talking
video.
about. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Roman salute my fucking ass, bro. Are you
Yeah, no, that's what
serious?
because my friend didn't see. He was like, "No, I think it was supposed to be." I'm like, "Bro, watch the video." I didn't even say anything. He was like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway.
um, God is a interesting. Religion is an interesting thing. I always tell people religion is like people, humans trying to make sense of God because humans cannot conceive of anything beyond the human realm.
Yeah.
I was having this discussion with someone about like the conversation had carried on to like aliens and stuff, but basically I'd asked him, I was like, look, if I was like, God in my eyes, my life, God is very real.
Mhm.
Is
Yeah.
God a fully sentient creature that we believe sits on a throne and makes decisions and all that? Probably not,
Uh-huh.
because the thing about it, here's the thing, probably not, because if something is omniscient, if something knows everything that's going to happen at all times, all the time, it knows everything everywhere all at once, why would it make decisions? Why can't it
Yeah.
can't even make decisions?
Yeah. That's
It's like
true. That's true.
it's like
Yeah.
a huge supercomputer. It's this thing that
Mhm.
never stops calculating. The thing about making decisions is that you have to quote stop and think. You have
Yeah.
to, like, when you make a decision, you've stopped the thinking process. You've reached a
Mhm.
conclusion and you're
Yeah.
going to do an action, right?
Yeah.
God is real in the sense that nature never needs to stop. It
Mhm.
adapts. There's no
Mhm.
decision process in the making. It simply does. It simply is. I am the I am. I think, therefore I am.
Mhm.
This creature that is, or creature, entity, whatever you want to believe it is so beyond all of human creation and all of human conception
Mhm.
that we've literally assigned it this personality. If specifically
Mhm.
Christianity has assigned this very masculine dominant personality,
Yeah. Yeah.
because, and while I believe the masculine dominant is there, there's also like the feminine to keep it in balance, where like
Mhm.
the things just happen. This is why they stay in balance. God has no gender. God doesn't worry about gender because it literally is not human. It's
Cuz
not.
why would that fucking matter to
Why
God?
would it
You
why would it
know?
fucking matter? God, it's not a flesh
It's
and blood
not even a
organism. It
thing.
doesn't
Yeah.
need any of that. Those are
Yeah.
only limitations at that point. And so it's like
Mhm.
religion has been this huge, to me, this huge excuse to put limitations on God so you can control people.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
while there are religions, a lot of religions that offer freedom to people or peace, there's a lot of religions that are specifically made and crafted to control people, like Christianity has been. And
Mhm.
it's funny because we
Yeah.
brought up Jesus earlier, and like I believe Jesus was probably so in tune with nature that it was very divine in the sense that when everyone was like, Jesus, you don't seem nervous or anxious about this, probably like it'll work out how it works out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably a
I
guy that
mean,
was a super chill bro and
yeah.
was not
No, I
concerned
mean,
about much of
yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
And
like
I say this,
I love telling people, I'm like, if Jesus was alive today, like you would be
he
the
would be
Pharisee
disgusted.
that he criticized, you know?
Yes, he would be disgusted with
He
how
would
the
be
church is
disgusted.
operated.
Yeah.
He would see
Yeah.
this and be like, this isn't what I told you to do at all.
Yeah.
This
A
isn't,
hundred
and not even
percent.
told, this isn't even what I like asked of you or gave advice on. Like,
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
the short video I saw was like, Jesus said, be a leader. We made people into followers. The guy was talking about how Jesus had like, what was it? Like, talk about how I lived, not how I
Hmm.
died. And all Christianity talks about is how Jesus died. And he
Yeah.
had drawn all these like opposite parallels. And I was like, damn, they really are like fooling people by just
Hmm.
like flipping everything Jesus said. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
right now we're
Yeah.
seeing that at work, like these grifters in Christianity are talking about like, if you give me $1,000, I'll get your sins forgiven or some bullshit like that.
Yeah. Good old indulgences.
It's like wild, and people fall for that shit, bro.
They do. They do. And I don't know. I mean, like, also, my credentials for talking about this are 18 years of Catholic school. So before
Mm,
anyone
mm,
comes for
mm,
me,
mm,
I know what the fuck I'm talking
mm,
about.
mm,
At least
mm,
for
mm.
Catholicism. At least for Catholicism.
I'm a
But
PK.
yeah, I feel like people kind of like did everything that he said not to do. You know,
Hmm. No,
they did
literally, that's
everything he said
exactly what
not to
happened.
do, and it's like, and also too, the Bible, for all intents and purposes, the Bible, and this is my opinion and viewpoint on it, it's a metaphor. It's a storybook that
Yes,
was written to tell people how to be good people. Like
it's not
the
it's
Old
supposed to be taken
Testament.
literally.
Yes, the Old Testament is like it's like Aesop's fables. You know what I mean? It's like stories about like, like don't do this cuz you'll make your mom mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they're
yeah.
children's tales essentially, like for most of it. And then the part about Jesus, it's like, first of all, I don't know, historically there may have been a guy named Jesus, who knows, but like
Hmm.
but again, it's supposed to be read as a guideline, not a set of laws.
And it's so funny and
um
strange, crazy you bring that up, because like I think the Quran and the Bible honestly should go hand in hand, because the Bible has
yeah.
all the like fables and things
Mhm.
of that nature, and then Quran is in like an actual rule book of like, do this, don't
Mhm.
do this. If you're feeling this way, try this, do this.
Yeah.
But then the
Mhm.
Bible is like, if you're feeling anxiety, think about this one time where this guy did this. What do you think
Yeah.
he learned from it? What do you think he learned? It's kind
Yeah.
of like you have to take both at the same time.
For
And
example, like, if I can provide an example, like in the prodigal son, that's I'm just I can't
mm,
I've blocked out a lot of my Bible training, but but in the prodigal son, like the point of that, for those who might not have read that story, there's a guy who has two sons, and one of them stays behind and does everything the father asks for, but then one leaves and is considered to be lost for a while, and then ends up like kind of having a change of heart and then coming back. That's like the long and short of it. And the lesson at the end of that story is the son who stayed is like, well, what do you mean? Like, you're throwing this other kid like this huge party, but I stayed here and I did what I was supposed to do. And the father basically says, well, he was lost and now he's found. And the takeaway that you're supposed to get from that is that, it's twofold. First of all, if you stay and you do what you're supposed to do, you're not always going to get rewarded, but that's okay.
mm-hmm.
And then the second takeaway is, you know, no amount of mistakes that you make are going to stop you from eventually finding your way back.
Exactly.
Like, and those are the two takeaways that you're supposed to take away. And that's it. You're not
Yeah.
supposed to make laws about it.
Yeah.
They're just supposed to be moral lessons. And that's not to lessen anyone's faith in the Bible. Like, I think it's okay if you read the Bible and take away lessons from it, but I just don't think it's okay when you're weaponizing it to kill people you
Yeah,
know
no, I have a lot of thoughts, because like for me, like Jesus is a real person. Like Jesus of Nazareth
Hmm.
was a real person, and like I said, seemed like he was
Yeah.
very in touch and in tune with everything going on, to that extent where the people who built a
Hmm.
cult around him wanted to worship him. But I
Yeah.
just have this feeling, and really, it's not even
He
just a
probably was
feeling.
just
It's in the
vibing.
gospel. It's in the
Yeah.
gospel. He's straight up like,
Hmm.
"Don't worship me," and they're
Yeah.
all
No,
like,
he
"But you're
was
so
like,
amazing!" Like,
yeah, no, but
he's
he
the first
considered
celebrity.
them. Yeah, he considered like his disciples, though, he considered them brothers. Like, he didn't
Yeah,
consider them lesser, you
he
know?
didn't consider them quote disciples. Like the fact we even use
No.
that is just like
Yeah.
that's the language getting lost. And
Yeah.
I think what's weird is that we live in a world where I think
Mhm.
the best way to hide the truth from like that aspect would be to like spin it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so
100%.
like
Yeah.
Jesus of Nazareth was a real person back then. When we were talking about like the crucifixion, I have a friend
Mhm.
that very much believes in God but does not believe in Jesus. And to
Oh,
that, I kind of
interesting.
like hit him with these questions. I was like, I feel like back in the day, they know when someone's dead when they cut their head off. Like, keep in mind,
Yeah.
this is thousands of years ago, but
It's like
they
Game of Thrones rules.
right, but they stabbed this dude. They like beat the
Mhm.
shit out of him, and so they left him to die on a cross. They didn't confirm if he was dead. It's
That's
very
true.
possible he slipped into a coma and then woke up,
He
rolled
could have
that
been
rock
rolling
out.
death saves, you know?
Yeah, rolled that rock out and was like, I gotta get the fuck out of here,
He
man.
was like, "Fuck." Like,
Like he was probably like, shit, I actually survived.
shit.
Well, bye, because I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, these people tried to kill me.
No, I wouldn't. I like
Yeah.
literally. But then the mythos comes in where he ascended to all that. I'm not like I don't know. It seems like there's a lot in the Bible that gets like lost and mistranslated. And all the
Yeah.
like the lean. There's something the church uses a lot is the to control people is the lean not to your own understanding. And
Yeah.
when someone says that to you, like that could be taken so many ways. But specifically, if you take it with a grain of salt, it's like, hey, don't always trust your experiences, let the new ones come. Trust your instincts but let the new experiences come. It doesn't quite literally mean whatever you're thinking is wrong and whatever we
Yeah.
decide is right. Like that's
Yeah. Though
horrible.
I think it's been weaponized that way though, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with
and
organized
so
religion. Yeah.
and so like I don't know. Like I said, I think if Jesus walked into a church now and it got to offering time and he saw people putting money in them, he'd be like, "What is this? Where does this money go? Does it go to people who need it?" And if
Of
someone
course
told
not.
her, "No, it goes to us getting a bigger church," he'd probably, "What the fuck?"
He'd be
He's like,
like,
"What
"Are
is
you
that?"
good?" Yeah. If
Like,
he saw, oh my God, if Jesus saw the Lakewood Church,
oh, he'd throw up.
you know, like the joke that's like, what's something that would kill a Victorian child if you showed it to him? I feel like that's the same shit
No,
with
literally. I'm
Jesus.
sorry.
Like if you showed him the Lakewood Church, he would explode.
No, he'd be like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, he would
But
not be
like,
having a good time with that.
no, I have like so much to say about like again, like I believe God is very real, and
Mhm.
I believe that God's not actively trying to make decisions; is just letting this stuff
He's
happen.
just yeah,
And like
yeah.
you brought up the Old Testament, and real quick, I just wanted to
Mhm,
touch on this. Like
mhm.
somebody also said, like, and I think I don't think they were a big Bible person, but they were like, God changes with the times when it comes to humans,
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
in the Old Testament they talk about like stoning people and how God should set you on fire. And in the New
Yeah.
Testament, God's like, hey, that all seemed a little much.
That
And
was
so it's
silly.
like, yeah, it's like the
Yeah.
minds and values of the people shape what they believe God is in that moment, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's always been like that. I mean,
Yeah,
even with like thinking about the human brain, like when
yeah,
the steam engine came out, for instance, like many moons ago, people started to
many
consider the
moons.
brain might work via like steam or whatever. And nowadays with the internet, we kind of think of brains as computers. And like our understanding of human consciousness and intelligence has changed depending on current technology that exists like in the world. And like you're saying, it's very similar with God as well, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, people can only understand what they're capable of understanding, you know.
exactly. And so it's like I said,
Yeah.
man, like I could say all this to a pastor who's been through pastor school, I guess, and be like,
Hmm.
I don't believe God is the big white man with a white beard that you make him out to be. And they might
Yeah.
think that's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're like, well, his pronouns say he, him there, brother. And it's like, I guarantee you, like, when I pray, sometimes I pray like Holy Mother or Heavenly Father.
Hmm.
Most of the time I just say Lord because I'm not sure that thing's
Yeah.
not human. And like, but when you
Yeah.
pray, I feel like praying is a lot like the manifesting, where
Yeah.
it's like you're
Yeah.
putting you're putting a code in,
Hmm.
and is if you put that code in repeatedly and you do the work for that, you will get something back. It's like you reap what you sow. Is
Yeah.
like a very true thing.
Yeah.
And so
I'm a big believer in, like, as long as it, you can believe what you want to believe if it brings you peace, as long as you're not hurting other people.
exactly,
That's
exactly,
my big personal philosophy, I would say.
exactly. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Absolutely.
man, Christianity,
Alrighty.
huh?
Yeah. Jesus, huh?
God, just God. Wow.
Alrighty. Well, then, lastly, I want to hit you with a couple trivia questions.
Oh my
We're
blob.
going back to One Piece.
Mm,
All right, so these are, again, a little harder than the first ones that I gave you
okay,
last time because I've seen more One Piece since then.
let's get. Let's go.
All right, so what devil fruit did Nico Robin eat?
The Hana Hana no Mi,
Mm-hmm. And
which
it's the flower fruit.
yeah, I would say it translates to flower. I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
I'm still kind of like, I don't know why it was called that, because she does the whole arm thing. I don't really know what the connection
I
is there.
I want to say I get it. You kind
Yeah,
of understand it a bit more later, but
more
honestly,
later.
bro,
Okay,
no spoilers, but like the way her power
you're
works,
like,
I'm like, it feels like they just named it wrong, and it might be one of those things where they named it wrong,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it
maybe
kind of
so.
makes sense.
For sure, for sure.
But
All
yeah,
right, and then
the
what is Sanji's nickname in Alabasta? It's like
Mr.
what he
Prince.
says. Yeah,
This is
with the
hey G.
glasses.
No spoilers. It's really important later.
Yeah, yeah. I figured.
It's really important later. This man Oda
Yeah,
is like crazy. That's all I'm gonna say.
it's
That little
yeah.
detail is so important.
Ooh, all
But
right.
yeah.
Work. Fuck you, crocodile. I hate you.
Fuck crocodile.
Except you're really
Except
hot
when
and
you're on my
sexy.
side because you're pretty cool. You
Except
got
when you're
cool
hot and
powers.
sexy.
You're so hot and sexy. God damn it.
But also fuck you. All right. And then what is the symbol of friendship that the Straw Hats share with Vivi?
It's an X on their. I forgot what hand. I think it's their left one.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's
I
like
think it's a left.
here-ish. I
Yeah.
don't know. That scene made me cry though when they were all
That
like
was
holding up
so
their arms. I was like,
sad. Because
oh,
they were waiting for her to come, and I was
oh,
like, sure. I was
I
like, she's gonna get on.
know. I
I really wanted it to
know.
happen.
I love her. Does she? Don't spoil anything too big, but does she come back
She
ever?
comes back. She's an
Okay, cool,
honorary Straw Hat.
cool. I love
They
that
make
because
it very
I really
clear.
wanted her to be a
Yeah,
part of it.
they make it very clear there are multiple like honorary Straw Hats are really important to the story, and they're really cool people.
Hell yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Okay, and so then what was Luffy's bounty set to after Alabasta? This
100?
one's a little harder.
100
100
million?
million berries. Yeah,
100
yeah.
billion.
Bonus
100
if you
million or
remember what
100?
I think 100 million at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Bonus if you can tell me what Zoro's was up to.
Oh, I don't know.
It
I
was
want to say
60.
60. Okay, yeah.
Amazing. All right. And then this is my last question for you. And I was shocked and in awe when I read the answer to this because I was like, holy fuck, this is crazy. And I'll tell you why it's crazy. When was the first episode of One Piece aired on television?
I roughly remember seeing like a copyright something for 1999. I don't know what day, but I think it's
Yeah.
like literally 1999 or something. It didn't get here until 2004 though.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. It
And
was
then
October 22nd, 1999.
that's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. So One Piece, the anime, is 3 months younger than me.
That's wild. Oh, damn.
Isn't that crazy?
That's wild. No,
I was
it's
born in
funny
July
to me.
99.
It's funny to me because I think like again, I don't know what year I started watching it, but I do know like had to be like 2007, 2008 because
Yeah.
Toonami was like big.
Yeah.
And so it's like crazy that took like almost 10 years to get over.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's wild. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for coming back on and re-recording with me.
Always. I love you. And no crunchy audio this time.
Woohoo! Yes. Yes. Well, I love
We're
you
gonna
so
be
much,
king of the
and thank
pirates.
you. And thank you so much to our audience for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find me at Underwater Eyeballs on all platforms. And Reef, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Instagram at Reef the Rabbit, and you can
Beautiful.
find me on Spotify, Reef the Rabbit. And at some
Hell
point, I
yeah.
will put my TikTok up. I hate TikTok, so I don't tend to get
It's
on
so
there ever.
valid. Yeah.
But maybe I will reactivate what I like made a TikTok account like when it first came out. I didn't like it, but I did take some videos of my cat who is
Oh,
shaped
there
like
you
a
go.
football.
Love.
He is shaped like a football, and if you want to see some football shaped cat content, follow my
Absolutely.
TikTok at Reef the Rabbit.
Work. Alrighty. Well, I will be back very soon with another episode of the Out of the Water podcast. Thank you so much.
I love you.
Love you.